I can tell I enjoy having you on because they'll be like, when they mention a car guy, sometimes I'm like, oh no. Like, because I'll like try to come up with questions in my head, and I'll be like, "What engines? What are they about?" Like that level of complexity. But no, you're a great guy to chat with. So I'm excited to have you on. Thank you for joining us again.
Y'all are too kind. Good to be here.
What's your personal car right now?
I just got the 4-seat Ferrari, so it's called the GTC4 Lusso. So it's actually got an adult-sized back seat. I didn't really mean to get it, but I had an Audi R8, and those everything under 200 grand in the exotic car world has gotten pretty sale-proof lately. It was really
so true.
Everything was propped up by crypto money and crazy stock market returns and easy financing and stuff like that. And as that starts to slow, it gets a lot tougher to move that kind of stuff. So I had one that we'd used for exactly that's what it is, and so it's kind of goofy looking, but it's an extremely comfortable car, even at 6.5 feet tall, and I'm enjoying it. I mean, my favorite cars are still my Lamborghini Murciélagos, the V12 Lambos from the 2000s, and so usually in one of those, unless it's broken, which it usually is.
Can you fit in those comfortably though, like the Lambos?
And with motivation, that's kind of the
come on, it's a Lamborghini, cram.
That's right. So I actually fit in them pretty well. It's not what I'd call comfortable, but it's what I would call worth it.
So I've been watching Formula One a bunch lately. Lately is like the last couple of years when it's still pretty casual. Does much of the tech from Formula One make it into the cars, the supercars?
Not really, to be quite honest. I mean, the engines are radically different in both the way they produce power. There has been a new trend towards some ultra high level Formula One derived technology, and like the Mercedes AMG 1, the Aston Martin Valkyrie, and these are going to be $3 to $4 million cars that they can only manage to build 100 to 300 of, with massive like 10-year lead time.
Your next daily driver.
Well, and they're inherently very compromised, so they might rev to 14,000 RPM, but they have 30,000 mile rebuild intervals and things like that. And so, things like paddle shift technology for shifting certainly did. I think it would have come anyway, just as we automate more. But true Formula One technology on the road, or really even true race car technology on the road, isn't that much of a thing.
I want that thing from Demolition Man, the Sylvester Stallone movie. They had a car accident at one point. I believe Sandra Bullock may have been driving. And entire interior of the vehicle filled with a soft foam that was at first liquidish and then turned solid, but then they were quickly able to tear it off of themselves after the crash was over.
That one of those non-Newtonian solids, right? That
something like that
style thing. That's exactly.
Is that a safety mechanism?
Yeah, of course. The whole car filled with a foam that you were now inside of and encased in, and then when it came to a rest, on the side, they all just tore themselves out of the foam. It reminded me of that thing that motorcyclists have. You can wear like a kind of backpack rig, and it inflates an airbag all the way around you in key spots. If you have an accident, you just sort of bounce down the highway.
It sounds like you like this movie, but it sounds really bad.
Oh, it won 4 Oscars, I think.
Okay,
I really do. Dude, I want the thing from the Saturday Night Live
shit like that's so easy because
Wesley Snipes won Best Supporting Actor. What are you talking about?
I don't know enough to dispute it.
You remember accepting the award with the blonde hair? Come on,
garbage turns into stars. I don't know enough.
That's
yeah. Saturday Night Live did the thing where the airbag filled with Jiffy Pop, and then they could just eat it until help arrived. That's the move.
Exactly.
I'm really thankful that I live in a world where those airbags were all just designed and keyed in for men, for us. There's plenty of people who aren't shaped like us and built like us, but they don't get airbags, but we do.
Yeah,
it's really a bad design as I think about it, because men aren't the one crashing their cars. That's a woman thing.
You're so right.
So true.
You're so right.
So true. Women
who's here? Which of you's been hit in the face with an airbag? Anybody got one out?
I have.
No.
You have?
Yeah.
It's a shocking thing. Yes,
it is. My neck hurt, but the accident was my fault. the officers like, and I'm like, around the accident scene doing one of these things, and the officers are like, "Are you okay? Like, should we get an ambulance for you?" And I'm like, "No, it's totally nothing at all. there's no one to sue here but me." I'll walk it off.
I've seen a lot of injuries from those, like not just the impact of them, the burns, because you've got this thick bag of like, it's like a woven material, like that the bag's made out of. It's real tough stuff. You'd never tear it apart. But anyway, when it pops, like it's rubbing against the inside of if you're holding the wheel, like it can just burn your the inside of your forearms real severely. Not with like
not the rub
fire, but with friction.
Yeah,
the air escapes, right? It's not airtight.
Exactly. Yeah,
so
to make it deflate real
hot air squeezes out really quickly, and that's what can burn you. And it smells like gunpowder. So me, not very accustomed to gunpowder at the time, like it. I didn't expect the airbags to go off. I didn't see that coming. It was an accident. What happened was I was cresting a hill. There was a red light, and I didn't anticipate that there'd be a line of cars parked just on the other side of the hill. And there was some sunset issues and tension span issues that played into it as well.
Sure.
So just as I come over the hill, I hit my brakes really hard. The guy in front of me hit his brakes really hard, but he was better at braking. And I hit the back of him. Airbag goes off. It's pretty minor. That dude's fine. My car I think my car was totaled, but it didn't look super bad.
Sure.
But once the airbag busts the front and the windshield and and it's a Ford Focus maybe, or a Ford Escort, like it's a shitty car. So
the airbags ruin the airbags blow up a car. Like the whole interior is like, "For you, my lord," and it all explodes.
The attention span was tight. I was going on vacation. This was like Friday after work. I'm about to go on some vacation for a week, and I'm just like walking on clouds. I'm just so excited to be leaving the office, headed back home. I'm like newly married at this point in my life, and we're about to go on vacation, and it's just everything is coming up Woody. And then I totaled my car, and it was like,
it was supposed to be the summer of Woody.
Yeah.
Was it one of those like when you got hit in the face with the airbag and the cop was like, "Are you okay?" Was it one of those times where like you were embarrassed to be hurt almost, and so you felt like, "Oh no, I'm good"? Like totally. I wanted to track that to like the racing world that you're in, and I wanted to know about anti-heightism bigotry, because everyone knows you walk into a Home Depot or a store like that, you get the credit of being 6'6". People look at you, they go, he's a tall guy. That means he's probably got stuff going on. But in the world of racing, like if you're a jockey, if some 5'6" guy walks in the jockey hangout and says he's good at riding horses, do you know how much those little dwarfs are going to laugh at him? They're going to mock him straight out of that room. They're going to send him right back to the normal size roller coasters that he can ride. Just like on racing, I bet that is there ever a time where you've been like, "I'm real good at racing," and some 5'7" racer who's really good is like, "I bet you are, champ. I bet you're like real good. Like, I bet you kind of hunker in, huh? Yeah.
I bet you're the fastest in your family."
That's it. Or do you just threaten them out of it?
Oh, you're exactly right. Yeah, there's no way. I mean, when you see somebody that looks like a tall racing driver, they might be, 5'10", 5'8". This is not, there's nothing I would fit in, and that's okay. I mean, there's some, sports car level stuff that are modified street cars where you put a, lightweight small bucket seat in and you could get some more room. So those are always possible, but a Formula car open wheel, no, that's.
What about NASCAR? Like, those guys those guys are like regular sized grown men and stuff?
They are, yeah. And, the more rich guy the sport gets, and less qualified by racing prowess, the bigger people can fit in.
I'm glad you're here because
NASCAR
I watched
weighs you with the driver in it. Am I wrong on that? I think they might though.
Yeah, they do weigh you with the driver in it.
Yeah. So there's an advantage to being able to control where the weight is. Like if I weighed 0 pounds and they could put that weight low and center it, or maybe over the rear tires, I don't know where they want it, that would help. Whereas if I'm fat, it has to go where I am. But still, the advantage is muted somewhat.
How much of an advantage would, say, 10 or 15 pounds be? Is that nothing? Is that meaningless? Like in a NASCAR car, because we turn left in my household.
NASCAR fairly little, but Lewis Hamilton has done some interviews lately where he'll say that if he's 5 or 10 pounds heavier for a race, it's like tenths of a second on a lap, which I would struggle to, especially with the unpredictability of his car the last few years. I would struggle to think that's really a thing, but it's a lovely thing to blame it on. You had a nice wild night of Brazilian barbecue, and it got to be a problem. But
I believe that I bring it up because you can cut a tremendous amount of weight if when he was going to weigh in, he drank a lot of water. He drank a lot, as much as he could drink. He'd been overhydrating all day, or maybe all week, which is going to be important because he needs to drop all that water weight tonight. Like he could make a 20-pound swing. You can make a 20-pound swing without like any adverse side effects. It'd be easy.
You know how those how occasionally there's a wrestler who doesn't have legs and he's like, and his arms are just like just huge, and so he's competing against guys whose arms are like not even in the same ballpark. His grip is like a Titan's grip. Are there any racers maybe who have a disablement, whatever it would say, a handicap like that, where maybe they're hand racing, and then I could see people getting upset, like, God damn, like that guy doesn't have legs. He's saving 40. How much do legs weigh? Like, that's a good bit of weight.
I'm trying to think. I mean, there have definitely been some more gentleman racers, amateur racers that have managed to be reasonably competitive, with missing appendages. So that can happen, especially with more automatic cars and things like that. But I can't think of a top level racing driver. Somebody in the comments might. But Woody, I'm glad to hear that you're watching F1. I mean, they've done such a brilliant job of marketing the sport through Drive to Survive.
That's what got me.
Exactly. It's what got most people in or more in, or understanding a lot more of the storylines. I know it's predominantly funded by the FIA, but holy cow. I mean, what a successful transition from the way they've been broadcasting it for so long to a new medium, and it has worked like a charm.
It's a little bit, I don't know, like insulting or embarrassing to be a Drive to Survive F1 fan. Like, I'm one of those new guys that doesn't quite understand why the mediums and hards tires were worthless last year and why they run regular tires when it's clearly raining out. Like, I don't understand these changes sometimes, but I get it a little bit. I understand why there's porpoising on the new models and what they're doing to fix it. And my wife follows it too. So a lot of it is quizzes with answers that I do not have. It's just like, but it's cool.